Right. Today I'm going to begin a series of videos which will develop the understanding of joy as self. In terms of yoga, it will be how to realize Satchitananda, how to begin, how to be in, and how to remain as the true self, in spite of the conditions and circumstances of your life or the experiences that come your way. Okay, so everyone wants to know what the world is. Some say it doesn't exist. What's love, if that's the case? Is it a word? Just a word for hope, give life meaning, in a place that doesn't exist? Why do we love each other? Why do we bother to try? We take the non-existent life. Like lemmings and jump off the cliff. Doesn't make any sense. It means life's just nothing, meaningless, fast. Not the case. I'll prove that very shortly. I hope you'll find hope. Not a case of hope, though, it's a case of certainty. I'll prove that. I will prove that. I'm going to spend quite a few months, years, creating videos about a lifetime of sadhana, a lifetime of seeking. Don't seek anymore, I found it. So, I'm going to share it with everyone. So, this video is going to be about the posts I made on Facebook about joy and suffering. The paradox of suffering and joy, the paradox. We want to escape. The escapists want this to not exist so that they don't suffer. It's not it. The one who wants to escape doesn't exist. We'll see. Okay. So, moving on. Okay. I'm reading a little bit from the post. Okay, so look to my right and I'll read that. That's where my eyes are going. So bear with me. Okay. So the combined PDF starts off with the statement, "You are joy itself." Knowing that joy that you are, sharing that joy is the shining of that joy. Like, don't hide a diamond under a bushel of rock, or whatever Jesus said. It is the shining forth of love. It's the radiance of the heart. If you look at my Facebook icon, you'll see that. So, that joy is very life itself. It's the life in the process of becoming. It's love-loving. So I'm going to break this down into about 5 different videos, so we'll go through this a little bit at a time. Creation of being itself. Okay. So everyone experiences a degree of joy, maybe a lot of sadness and unhappiness, suffering, I call that. Anytime you're not happy, not in joy, you're suffering. So that suffering, or it's fighting to catch up to the joy, like moving toward yourself. You keep moving backwards. Like going to guy in the mirror, and we go into the mirror like that. As I go closer to the camera, I come in. If you go closer to the mirror, disappear. So you can't see. It's like you put your hand in front of your face. The whole scheme outside you disappears. All that's there is this. All you can see. But the closer you look at your suffering, the bigger it seems. So, the degree of joy you experience is commensurate with your attachment to that person that's suffering. You're attached to the definition of this suffering self. And it's the suffering that defines it as that sufferer. If it wasn't suffering, it would be full of joy. We would think so. So this is two ends of the same stick. I've said it a few times, different ways. There's a suffering self trying to catch up to the joy, but what's happening? Same stick, flips it over, same stick. Forget about the ends. Let's just look at the stick. Let's chuck the ends away. Forget joy, forget suffering. Let's just look at the stick. Cut it up into pieces. You've got lots of little ends. Slices, tiny bits. They've all got ends. So, like I said in the last video, spreading apart. Opening a space between you and your heart. Okay? And into that space comes the stick. And the stick is the I, the ego. Think about it that way. It's an I. I is the problem. So how can I come into being? Out of the will? It's the only place. Choose to do this, choose to do that, but you have to have someone who, let's say, enacts the choice we make. So we make this choice and we enact as the I. And you advocate and say, I'm not the doer. See, I see if I can do this better. I is I. That I is not the doer. In the last video I said, the I is the problem. Right, so, if I've got a will, if I have got a will, or if I has a will, and he tries to enact or put into practice the results of having willed, he comes into being and he's stuck in that action-reaction paradigm called karma. Right, so karma is swinging from one to the other, like I said, to and fro, like the last video. Okay. So the motivation, the spiritual motivation, is when we get sick of suffering. We want to find a way out. So we go to India, we look for teachers, we go to seminars, we become seminar junkies. We get addicted to the joy. 3 days later, 4 days a week, after we leave the seminar or the guru or India, back where we started from, back into suffering. Because we pick up the I again. We pick it up when we try to continue to experience the joy. Paradox it. So we want the joy, but when we try to get it, we push it away because we've already got it. Oh man, it's like having a fruit. Little tiny speaker, Bluetooth. So we've got this fruit. Got to hold it with both hands. God comes to give us a gift. We can't accept it because we've got a hold of this. Right? Got a hold of I. All of our attention's on I. So God can't give us this gift, or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, providence, the, whatever it is that, let's say, meets out that joy to us, or gives us a good life experience. We're holding on to us, the sufferer, as self. Two hands. How are you going to accept a gift? You don't put this down. Okay, so you put down one hand, you hold on with one hand to yourself. You say, oh, I want this thing that will set me free. Who's holding on to me? Who's holding on to I? God, please set me free. I'm holding on to I. Yeah? You can't get it. Okay, so you go to seminar, you put it down for 5 minutes. You get the joy, because it's like a resonance in the group, like a vibration. And the whole of that massive vibration among all the people creates this gigantic vibration, and everyone partakes of it like a Christmas feast. Okay? So you feel good. Everybody imbibes this joy, and the atmosphere is fantastic. It's like the music in the background here, it's lovely. So then we go away and the ambience is gone, vibration changes. We see ourselves as this little enjoyer. I came back home. Why did the suffering come back? Okay, I came back home from the seminar, from this wonderful experience. But everyone else wants me to be who they think I am. Okay? So I pick up I, the I they remember me being, so that I can get along with it. I see, I. So I come back and I pick up this I that was suffering before I went to the seminar. It's like going, I used to be a mechanic, it's like putting on dirty overalls and go back to work. It's clothing, it's like a shield, it's like a shell around us. And we live through that shell. It's like looking through plastic, red plastic, cellophane, everything looks red. So who we think we are rather, affects our experience because of our lack of joy. See? So we experience a life that's the light projected through this plastic, and it gets projected out onto the background of the consciousness, like I explained in the first video. So this background, right? In the second video with the 3 levels, you've got the inner self. We'll go deeper. You've got the light of the consciousness, which is like a pinprick shining through the self of the light. The light of the self-love is shining through that pinprick we call mind. Because as a pinprick, the subtle I appears inside us, the I we refer to as me. And then the perception's happening while this is going on of his projection with all the light rays of light and vibration going out of him, projecting the existence onto the background of his own self, which is the screen through which that pinprick of light is shining. Okay? So it appears in front of him. He suffers to exist as I, loses his joyous nature, disconnects from his infinite love. And because he's doing that, he goes running after, trying to find it out there. Not going to happen. He's not going to find it. He's only going to find little pieces. Reason? If you've ever been fishing, you can't use a big hook for a little fish. The little fish can't eat the big hook. Or put it another way, a baby needs tiny bits of food, little pieces. Right? He's a baby. So if you're addicted or attached to this tiny little self, you can only eat this much. You'll never understand your true self if you're holding on to that I. To me, this definition. You have to let it go. Okay. You have to understand that someone is looking at your state of mind. Someone inside you is looking at your emotional state. It's looking at your physical body. And it's got a triangular view, like that triplicit consciousness. So your consciousness is composed of your physical awareness, your emotional reactions to things, and your thoughts. But they happen automatically by your perception of the outer reality. So this is a short video as I said, I'm going to do a few of the same. I'm going to break down this whole file for you, video after video. I hope it's going to be one hell of an experience for you. Okay. Now, I want to say this. This is offered to the self in you. It's not about me, it's about you. It's about you. If you think about it this way, forget I exist. You choose to watch this video for you. So you create this situation where you listen to these words and they're indisputable fact. And it doesn't matter who said them. Therefore, it's not an opinion. It's true. It's foundational truth. It's incontrovertible truth. If you said it, it's true. If God said it, it's true. If a professor at the uni said it, it's true. The Garbo, anyone said it, it's true. Not an opinion. So all you got to do is look and see how and what happens and how you lose your joy. That's what I'm trying to show you. My motive is nothing. It's the shining forth of the joy. It wants to do that. See, for years, I wouldn't do anything because I felt I didn't want to be the doer. I taught for a while, but I was always unhappy about it because I was still attached to the doer. I didn't want to do it. It wasn't good. My teaching was okay, but didn't really lead anywhere. Troubled people, I think. Anyway, so then I just didn't have any motivation. No, because I knew that I was not doing the right thing. I was suffering because I was trying to own it. So I don't own this. You created me in my past to tell you about you. Because I'm speaking to you from that inner self to the inner self in you. And I want you to find yourself, even if you never meet me. I want you to discover the truth of your own being, because that being is the same being in all of us. It's the self. And by God, it exists. Trust me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. The next video will appear pretty soon, because I like doing this now, because I'm doing it with the right motivation. So, this spiritual motivation is the very grace given us, not me, given us. It's not given by me. It's the very grace given us by God, whatever you want to call it. It's the self, the heart, love, the mother, Shakti. Yeah? So that's what it is. Thank you. Namaste.